What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah, today we got another huge update. You guys can probably already tell that it is going down just by that title alone. You guys are definitely going to want to check this one out. So we got that Representative Ratchet, aka Jasmine Crockett, derailing a House committee hearing in order to go after launch attacks on Marjorie Taylor Greene, and then instantly regretting it. Guys, and I'm excited to get into this one, so we're going to hop straight into it all. I ask that you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and without further ado, let's hop straight into it. Folks, check this one out. So ordered I now. Crockett's comments backfire. Recognize that oversight. Republican I now you're not recognized. Miss Stanberry, you're not recognized. I'm sorry, we're going to cut medic. Actually, Miss Stansbury, you're not recognized. I now recognize Miss Crockett from Texas. Thank you so much. It is so interesting that I just learned today, at 44 years old, that the Republicans are going to be the ones to save women. The same Republicans that have been say for women's reproductive acts, or the same Republicans that have stood for the Equal Rights Act, which would hopefully get women to equal pay, or the same Republicans that just this Congress voted for the SAVE Act, which we know would disenfranchise women from even being able to vote. But let me tell you, they are our saviors, and so I am so happy to be here today, because otherwise I would not have an idea that I had a savior in the Republicans. So let's also talk about the fact that it's only been 100 days, 100 long, terrible days for anybody that absolutely believes in reality. Because what we know is that they have terminated staff responsible for enforcing federal protections against sex-based discrimination. Sounds like that's pro-women, or they've cut funding for domestic violence, survivor services. Sounds pro-women to me, or they've prohibited funding for research affecting women's health. That definitely sounds pro-women to me. Essentially, they closed the Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights. Again, sounds like they are fighting for us, and instead of providing oversight over these actions, congressional Republicans have been working to execute one of the most aggressive anti-women legislative agendas in history. And yet, they're here today trying to convince the American people that discriminating against trans people is somehow the only way to protect women. This hearing has nothing to do with improving government efficiency. It's another attempt by Republicans to distract from their demonic and disastrous policies that are making it more difficult for Americans to make ends meet. So Miss Goss Graves, I want to play a game. It's called Trump or Trans. You ready? Okay? So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me whether or not it is Trump or trans people that are responsible. You understand? Got it. Okay. Very good. The first one, gutted medical research. Trump, kidnapping Americans and sending them to foreign countries, aka deporting them, Trump. Driving us into a recession, Trump. Increasing the cost of everything. Trump waging an idiotic tariff war. Trump harming farmers. Trump ignoring the Constitution. Trump proposing to take away Social Security. Trump cutting health care. Trump firing government workers who keep our country safe. Trump encouraging an environment of hate and divisiveness. Trump, thank you so much. This committee could be engaged in actual oversight of fraud, waste, abuse, and mismanagement. So let's talk about waste. Like Trump's plan to spend almost $100 million for his little birthday parade, or how he spent 25% of his first 100 days golfing, costing taxpayers tens of millions of dollars. In fact, it's a little bit over $30 million at our last estimation. In fact, President Trump is on pace to spend more than $1 billion of taxpayer dollars just on golfing. Yet the Republicans have been silent, so they must think spending taxpayer dollars on the president's golfing trips is more important than providing health care to their constituents. And when I talk about constituents, we're going to talk about the ones on this committee. So if we look at Texas, 39,000 children look to potentially lose their Medicaid with the cuts that they are about to vote on for reconciliation. 88,000 in Georgia, 368,000 in Missouri, 79,000 in Tennessee, 286,000 in South Carolina, 4,000 in Texas, 85,000 in Texas, 27, and in Georgia, 11,000. And if you add that up just on this committee, we have 606,000 kids that are relying on us to do right by them. And instead, we playing these crazy games because we worried about 10 trans folk that are in sports right now. In college, I wasn't elected to be engaged in these fights. I was elected to make sure that those kids, the kids that they are about to neglect with these terrible votes that they're about to take, I was elected to protect them and to make sure that they could grow up and have all the opportunities. But let's keep on track now. When we look at how much they are spending on, let's look at fraud. We could investigate whether the White House and the members of this subcommittee engaged in insider trading and market manipulation. Maybe it's a coincidence that the chairwoman brought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stock the day before Trump announced a 90-day pause on tariffs. But I guess we'll never know. So finally, let's talk about abuse, like how the Republicans have let Elon steal data of Americans and his competitors to make himself even richer. Look, don't let these hearings distract you from their destruction. This is rage baiting instead of conducting oversight over the issues that Americans actually care about. And with that, I will yield. The gentle lady time is expired. Madam Chair, now recognized. Madam Chair, I move down to take down her words, imputing you. It's saying you committed a crime, without objection. So ordered, the committee will parliament. The committee will point of parliamentary inquiry. We're going to go with hers first, right? Madam Chair, the committee will suspend. The member will state the words she wishes taken down. Well, actually, Madam Chair, the words were actually not made. The committee will suspend. Do you have the exact? I don't have the exact words. Okay, the words alleging a criminal act by the chairwoman, what words we will suspend? We will have the committee will suspend. The clerk will go over the recording with the stenographer, and the committee will suspend what just happened. I didn't hear her accuse her, but I heard her hint at it. She asked the question like, riddle me this. She didn't actually state that she committed a crime, so I'm not sure if they'll be able to strike this one down. The hearing will come to order. Miss Mace, I'd like to ask, we've looked at the words that were said, and it's borderline whether it's parliamentary, and goes along with the rules saying could and accusing the White House and members of this committee of crimes is borderline. So in interest of the hearing and our witnesses that are here today defending themselves against the mentally ill biological males that have invaded their sports, and in the interest of making sure that we stay on track instead of getting sidetracked into Democrats' nonstop fake accusations. I just ask, thank you for bringing up the motion, and ask if you'd like, yes, Madam Chair. Okay, thank you very much. With that, I now recognize on the record, she has to withdraw it. On the record, she already did. Miss Stansbury, I now recognize Mr. Burchett from Tennessee for 5 minutes. Thank you, Chair Lady. Madam Chairman, I'm sorry, it has to be withdrawn on the record. She asked the question and she said, yes, Madam Chair, you weren't listening. Miss Stansbury, we handled that, and it has been removed for the record. The fake accusations of criminal behave. Oh, are you accusing also and lying, and you're continually disrupting this hearing and won't stay on track about mentally ill men trying to beat down women and women's sports. We're going to stay on track now. Miss Stanbury, so hopefully you can go along with this hearing and stay on subject. But I now recognize Mr. Burchett from Tennessee. Thank you, Chair Retros. Take Lady-O. There we have it, guys. Oh my goodness. I don't know if it's just me, but there's something I've started to notice with these loonies on the left. They really believe that loud equals correct, or loud plus emotional claim equals correct, and it's not the case. You could just tell. I mean, it was like nails on a chalkboard. We're going to start calling her Jasmine. Nails on a chalkboard, Crockett the way she speaks. It just gets underneath my skin every single time. And this right here should show you the true stance of these loonies on the left, how they truly feel about women. And young girls, this hearing was supposed to be over the inclusion of trans athletes inside of women's sports. Jasmine Crockett said, that's no big deal. There's only 10. We're talking about 10 students or 10 athletes, and they're in college anyway. So it doesn't matter, but yet you're talking about dreams being crushed by little girls, young women who have worked their entire lives. You know what I mean? They've grinded it out, worked the way up to the ranks, finally getting to the collegiate level. And you're saying that 10 guys inside of their sport doesn't matter. What about when they make it to the championship, when they make it to the finals, and their dreams are crushed, shattered by someone who isn't even supposed to be in their rank or even on their side of the competition? These dims, you can't make this stuff up with them. And then we seen Jasmine Crockett, once again, wasting time and trying to play the blame game, launching attacks on MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Trying to accuse her of some sort of insider training, it never stops with these folks. I mean, that blame game, it's always blame Trump for these common sense topics. I mean, we're talking about men inside of women's sports, and she wants to talk about a whole different thing. They don't want to talk about the common sense factor here, just because they want to oppose Donald Trump at every single corner. This is a no-brainer. We could have, I feel like everyone could agree on this one. But I guess not when you're a loony on the left with that Trump derangement syndrome. You have to oppose. Oppose, guys, but definitely hop in the comments section. Comments are open. I'm excited to hear your thoughts. I feel like MTG held her own pretty well in this when it came to Jasmine Crockett, but you guys definitely hop in the comments section. Let me know what you're thinking. Also, make sure you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you'd enjoy more content like this. Catch you guys on the next one.